I feel like I was right on the edge of when public schools were still not bad, and then it just seemed to go to hell from there. Just nut house it's turned into, indoctrination for liberal ideologies. Do any of you out there, or did any of you homeschool your children? Before we had kids, my wife thought she was going to, do the corporate thing that she was doing. And then when we got pregnant with the first, she said she wanted to stay at home. Okay, that's cool. We'll adjust. And then I remember we would trade emails with each other, stories from the news. And I would send them to her like jokingly, like reason number 823 to consider homeschooling. And it was just all the stuff going on in the public school system. And, when the teachers make comments at meetings, which they do and did, that I care more about your children than you do. I mean, what an arrogant comment. And it's only gotten worse. But my wife, it really falls on Mama Bear most of the time. There are exceptions, but my wife has educated all of our children, who are now all teenagers. One's about to graduate, and from the high school level, and knew he wasn't going to wait, right? It's hard work. And, you're still paying your taxes to the public schools, while then also paying for all the materials and supplies to homeschool. And you have to have, a lot of organization to it. Now, we use a co-op. One of the main criticisms we've heard through the years is always, what about socialization? What about socialization? They have this image that homeschool kids are sitting at home with pitchforks and AR-15s. And that's all they do all day. And they're forbidden to go anywhere else. Except to your room to do more homeschooling and weave a dress. And, our kids are everywhere. They're in a co-op with, I don't even know, 30, 40, 50 other kids. And you can trade off, and somebody that often these things are led by former public school teachers that got tired of the bureaucracy. And somebody teaches math and somebody else teaches history or whatever, foreign language. Then there's materials all over the internet, do online learning. One of my jokes is, to be called homeschooled, they're never at home. They're always taking field trips. This car behind me can't wait to get past me, by the way. The edging over and, putting their nose over. I always say, to be homeschooled, they're hardly ever at home. They're always taking a trip somewhere, doing field trips. Young buck in a hurry here. We've homeschooled all the way through, and I ask our kids every now and again, especially at the start of each year, do you want to consider going to public schools? And they all say no. And in the socialization aspect of it, I can't say I've seen a ton of manners on all the public school kids. I don't know where this admiration for what we'll call socialization around the public school kids are. Ooh, look at the speed. Ooh, he's so cool. Wow, he went so fast. He really took me, didn't he, guys? This is hilarious. Ooh, wow, we're supposed to be dazzled. I don't know about you guys, I don't get off on taking people at the line. In fact, if somebody's going to come through and hit the intersection, let them hit him rather than me. I tend to let the cars go first, so that if anybody gets hit at that intersection, it ain't me. But anyhow, you know, on the socialization stuff, it's like, you know, some of the biggest punks I've met are public school kids. Like, okay, also in the public school, socialization means getting bullied. Anyhow, if you're in this camp that you think homeschool kids don't get socialization, that's a false narrative, fake news. But you know, curious if any of you guys have homeschooled, especially coming out of COVID. Oh, one of the controversial things, kind of controversial, is sports. So in some states, I think they've called it like the Tim Tebow bill or something. They want homeschool kids to be able to play on the public school teams. Now, our tax dollars pay for those teams, and they prohibit us from playing on them. And further than that, they won't play homeschool teams because of their precious rankings. In our family, my wife is much more dialed into the sports side of things than I am. I think it's overly focused over in education sometimes, so we've tried to keep a proper balance. But we've got two kids that play sports. One is into basketball for many, many years, and the other is volleyball and basketball. And you know, they're on the sports leagues. I guess they're like private sports leagues. We play private schools a lot, and the private schools have very nice campuses and equipment and stadiums. But when we encounter like public schools that come out to some of these tournaments, they refuse to play the homeschool leagues. And when we say homeschool, they're not all homeschool kids that are on it, but it's a lot of them. And then private schools, they won't play to private schools either. And I don't profess to be an expert on all this stuff, but you know, they'll take our tax dollars and yours. I get we're not the only ones paying taxes, but we do pay taxes. And then we're told, no, you cannot be. Why? Because we have rigorous educational standards that student athletes must pass to be on the team, as if the homeschool kids are just a bunch of cut up idiots. All right, I got to run an errand. I'll see you on the road.